The first story is an English fairy tale. It's called Like Meat Loves Salt. And this is not the version that those of you who so love Elizabeth Ellis is telling. It's not that same version. It's quite another. A long time ago, back before history was fully written, perhaps just after the Romans fought the Celts, in what is now England, there lived one of many kings. And this king, he had 3 beautiful daughters. Alas, he had lost his queen after the youngest was born, and so he had to bring up his daughters and rule his own little kingdom. A busy man was he. He did, however, like to travel out and meet those who ruled other nearby kingdoms to confer, and upon one such trip, he decided to get special gifts for each of his daughters. And he called in his eldest. She had beautiful, curly, long brown hair. She was of a cheerful disposition, and she had a twinkle in her eye for each and every young male member of the court. Quite a flirt she was. My dear, my love, I have a surprise for you, or I will have when I return. I'd like to bring you a gift your heart most wishes for. What could that be? And she thought, how long will you be gone, Father? Well, perhaps a fortnight. Well, next month, there was to be a grand ball. And she knew that she looked very good in red. Oh, it was her favorite color. Father, a bolt of the finest red silk. Could you do that for me? That I can, my dear. And he kissed her hand, and he dismissed her, and he called for his second daughter. As she came bounding in, because she was a very physical young girl, lots of energy. She was outspoken, energetic, and strong. Not only did she love to ride horses, she had the captain of guard teach her the longbow, and she'd become quite good at it indeed. Oh, my dear, I'm out to find you a special gift on this next trip. What would you most love to have? Now, one wouldn't think that she, being less feminine than her sister, would want to dress however. She had fallen in love with one of the king's soldiers. She knew he'd be at that dance. And she thought, hunter green, that's what I want. Father, could you bring me hunter green, a bolt of the finest hunter green silk you can find? Well, of course, my dear. This I can do. And he kissed her hand and sent her on her way. And then he asked for his third and youngest daughter to come forth. And she came slowly into the room, smiling at her father. Now, she was a very quiet girl compared to her sisters. She was maybe shy, but she was deep with her thoughts and strong with her emotions. And though her father proclaimed no favorites, he looked forward to his evenings by the firelight while they talked in deep discussion. And then she sang in her high, clear voice ballads of old until his head nodded to his chest. She was his unspoken favorite indeed. My dear, I have promised your sisters beautiful bolts of silk for the upcoming dance. Why, we have a beautiful red and a hunter green. What would you like me to bring you? She couldn't think, but since her sisters had chosen silk, Father, this silk will do, but what color? She could think of none, so she said, white. White would do nicely, Father. She really didn't think she needed a gift, but she wanted to please him. My love, you shall have what you've asked for. He kissed her hand and sent her on her way. It wasn't long till off he went on his trip. A fortnight passed quickly. had many conferences, and many strong links were made with at least 2 other kingdoms. He was satisfied with this trip. And he had sent his retinue out to seek the finest bolts of silk to be had. While he was riding home, it was late spring. His horse reared and ran off to the right, off the road. And before he could stop him, they ran right into a rose bush. The king didn't fall, but he slipped, and down he went onto the ground, and he looked around. There were the most beautiful, stunning roses blooming around him. Oddly, they were in brilliant red. A green he'd never seen. Can a rose be green? And beautiful white. And so he cut a length from each rose bush, and he laid these across his saddle to put with his gifts for his daughters. And on he went to the castle. Thrum-da-da-dum, thrum-da-da-dum. The gates opened, and in followed the king's retinue. The king washed up and had something to eat and called for his daughters. First, his eldest. He brought her in, and he sat her down at a chair opposite and said, "My love, I brought you your gift. Only tell me this, how much do you love me?" She started to laugh. She was so excited. She knew what he had for her. "Oh, Father, I love you more than all the stars twinkling in the sky." This pleased him greatly. He called forth a servant, and there was a beautiful bolt of gorgeous red silk, topped by a bough of the most beautiful red roses she'd ever laid eyes on. "Oh, Father, thank you so much." She threw her arms around him and kissed him, and he sent her off to have her dress made. He called in his second daughter. "My dear, I just want to know this. How much do you love me?" She looked at him in amazement, and then she laughed and said, "Father, I love you more than all the water and the rivers, the lakes, the streams, and even the seas." Oh, this pleased him mightily, and he called for her gift. And to her surprise, this beautiful bolt of hunter green silk came forth with most unusual green roses lying atop it. "Father, this is beautiful." She threw herself around him, hugged him, kissed him. He said, "My dear, go enjoy." And she ran to have her dress made. At last he called in his youngest daughter, so excited. He was so excited. "My dear, I brought you your gift. Only this I have to ask you. How much do you love me?" Oh, this shy and quiet girl, she didn't think of things off the top of her head. She took them seriously, and she thought and she thought. He grew uncomfortable and a little irritated. "Daughter, I've asked you a question, a simple question. How much do you love me?" "Father, this is no simple matter. This is a matter of great depth." "As you will."